Well, hello and welcome to Sports by Compion. My name, of course, is your host, Stephen Compion, flying solo today as we break down the 2025 Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft. It was a wonderful evening for most NFL fans as we got to see our team make their selection. The future of the franchise, all on the line as these teams make their picks. We won't get into all the coverage as we will be having different people who are our beloved friends of the show coming on and speaking about their teams and how they feel about it. So until then, we will wait on to speak about those type of picks of other teams other than your very own Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I will be breaking down for you fine folks today. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting there at 19 as their draft pick. They decided to stay there. You know, a lot of people may have been calling them, especially the Rams, trying to move up to pick different people. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to stay put, not take any of these offers, and they pick Emeka Mbuka. Now, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this. May mispronounce his last name and name in general a couple more times for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I think this is going to be a big pick for us. Very surprising at 19. I did not see that coming. With guys like Mike Green still on the board, Malachi Starks was still on the board. There was a couple key pieces on defense that were still on the board. So I was a little surprised to see Emeka come off for our pick at 19. But shout out to draft coverage of Peter Report. You know, they immediately started breaking down why this is actually a pretty good pick for us. First of all, Emeka is just really, really good at football, it turns out. He's been in a crowded Ohio State wide receiver room, still found ways to make noise over there. He played with Marvin Harrison the previous season. This year, he racks up 1,000 yards again. Overall, 215 career receptions. Almost 3,000 yards, second all time. In a school like Ohio State, that's pretty crazy. They produce a lot of really great receivers, and it looks like Emeka might be the next best Ohio State product. So we're pretty happy to have him. This isn't really what you might call a luxury pick, but if you think about how both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went down last year, and yeah, even though we have just re-signed Chris Godwin to a very extensive, $66 million contract, you still have to factor in how he's coming back from injury. Will he be ready to go at that full Chris Godwin potential? Or will it take a couple games for him to warm up like we saw when he came back from his previous injury? Same questions with Mike. He's getting up there. Whether or not he can continue to give you 17 games every year and you can count on him snap in, snap out, probably not. And probably not what you want to be doing on him anyway, wear and tear-wise. You want him fresher, so these playoff runs, he can go out there and do Mike stuff. So in those sense, this pick does make a lot of sense. Jalen McMillan did have a great end to his season, but he started out a little slow. Also had some injuries early on. And after him, it kind of does fall off a little bit. You got a bunch of unproven guys, Ryan Miller. We saw some stuff from him last year. Sterling Shepard, I think we know what we're getting with him, and I expect him to be probably still around, if not that sixth receiver practice squad guy. We got Raheem Jarrett. I believe so. Guy can't stay healthy. Guy can't stay on the field. Same thing with Cameron Jordan. Not Cameron Jordan. Cam, you know who you are. Younger Buccaneers wide receiver. It comes down to, this room is there's some guys who could potentially blow up and be amazing, but I think management saw Emeka on the board, knew that he was just going to be an absolute stud. This is the first wide receiver the Bucs have drafted since Mike Evans. That one worked out pretty well for us too, so I'm going to trust Jason Light with his assessment on wide receivers in the sense that he thought this was worth it for the first overall pick, And frankly, I think it still worked out because in the second round, they go get Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame cornerback. Now, I saw a lot of mock drafts that had him going in the first round to us. So I see this as an absolute win. We got a beautiful, excellent wide receiver in the first round, and then boom, second round, we can still address our biggest need, which was that secondary that couldn't quite stay healthy, and we had guys like Tyreek Thunderberg getting on the field. No offense, Mr. Tyreek, or Josh Hayes. I want to see some better cornerbacks out there who can shut it down. And Morrison's one of those guys. He's an absolute ball hawk. 2 interceptions with Notre Dame in his first 2 years. Now he's had these these surgeries on his hip. But from the report we're hearing and from the man himself, it's just something he was genetically born with. These hips didn't quite work or whatever it was. Maybe they're too big. Couldn't repair them right away because he was still in high school and wanted to get college offers. So he waited till, I guess he had established himself pretty well in those first 2 years and knew he was still going to make it in the draft and gets the other surgery done. So, yeah, a lot of the scare on him was, he's coming off double hip surgeries. This is crazy. It's a genetic deformity. It's how he was born. So, if you believe him, he's coming off. He's fully healthy now, and he's first round value. We got in the second round. So, I'm stoked about this pick. He's someone we absolutely need with Jamel Dean constantly getting injured and, frankly, not having that consistent of play. Zion McCollum had some moments last year, but I don't know if he's the long-term answer, if we can rely on him year in and year out. So this is a huge addition we absolutely needed. And just to shore it up, Jason Light in the third round goes back to the well of corner and picks up Jacob Parrish, cornerback out of Kansas State. He's going to be playing a lot of nickel for the Bucs, which is good because apparently we're going to be moving Tyreek back to safety, I guess. That's word on the street. He could be playing strong safety for the Bucs this coming season. So that leaves Jacob Parrish maybe starting immediately for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So very exciting there. Chris Yezin will still be in the rotation, obviously. So we'll see what will happen with those, smaller, shiftier corners. Jacob Parrish is a fast boy. Ran a 4.3 35, 40-yard dash. He has a lot of career interceptions, about 5, 19 breakups since 2023. So he can get around. He goes after the ball. It's going to be really exciting to see him and Morrison playing in this very banged up last year's Bucs secondary, kind of devoid of talent. This is what we needed for the Bucs to do. Go after it, really shore up that position. Speaking of another position we need to shore up a little bit, that's our edge rushers. So in the fourth round, the Buccaneers take David Walker, Central Arkansas edge guy. Now you're maybe wondering, oh my God, Central Arkansas. Buccaneers love their small school guys and making them work. And it has worked for us in the past. Cody Mauch, Luke Gedeke. And who was that? Cody Mauch, and who was that other dude? The dude who ended up with I went with the Bengals. Kappa, Mr. Kappa himself. Also had a productive year with the Bucs. Had a productive 4 years with the Bucs. Sorry it didn't quite work out with the Bengals fans, but either way, we like to go small schools for some of these guys, and it works out well for us. So I'm excited that David Walker is now joining the team. He's a little bit smaller, which is crazy to say that this dude's smaller at 263 pounds, and length apparently is concerned here because he's only 6'1". He seems like a big boy to me. Had 10.5 sacks last year, 23 tackles for loss, which is crazy. And that's what you want to see, is a guy like that dominating at that level to show he has what it takes to be in the NFL. I believe he was at the Senior Bowl, showed out well there too. So, with Hassan Reddick on that prove-it deal, you love to see this. They got him, Hassan Reddick, Chris Braswell, Anthony Nelson. And they got some horses in that edge rush, room right now, which is exactly what we need because they also were just lacking any type of production there. Of course, you have Diaby in that mix as well. So hopefully all that competition, breed some pass rushers who can actually get to the quarterback this year. And David Walker hopefully will be one of the leaders for that. Just to shore up the D-line, we go back into the D-line market and pick up Elijah Roberts out of SMU. This boy looks huge. His tape looked really good. 17.5 sacks over the last 2 years, 23 tackles for loss. He gets pressure. He actually had the second highest percentage for pass rushers, pressure rate basically, in this draft class, only behind Mike Green, who went in the second round. Did talk about Mike Green. Now, wasn't it? That was one thing. Mike Green was still on the board when the Bucs go ahead and pick Benjamin Morrison, but like we said, that was great value to get Benjamin Morrison there, and maybe a position we needed more than we needed an edge, having signed Hassan Reddick and hoping that Yaya Diaby or Chris Braswell could take that next step. So I understand the pick overall. But yeah, we get the second highest pressure rate in Elijah Roberts in the 5th round. I think it's a really great pick for us. This boy's big. He's a 6'5", 285, pounder. Ran an impressive 4.7. So this is a big boy. He can move fast. Very excited to see him. Team captain, of course, in his own right over there. And I believe also played in the Senior Bowl and balled out. Tez Johnson's going to be coming out here. Little Tez Johnson himself. And I say that because obviously he is the smallest guy in the NFL draft. Well noted. Not crazy fast at 4.5, 40 speed, but he's shifty. He's very shifty. He did really well in the Senior Bowl because of this. He's 5'10", 154 pounds. So he's the lightest guy. And, of course, you've seen all the memes of us signing Watson, who is now the heaviest player. So we got the heaviest player in the draft, biggest player in the draft, and we got the smallest player in the draft, and Mr. Tez Johnson. So he's going to be competing for punt return, maybe kick return. We'll see. I'm probably fighting to get some reps on the field there against guys like Ryan Miller and Raheem Jarrett as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he could do some stuff. He was Bo Nix's brother, basically, in college. So, he has really good tape. So this is kind of what you want out of a 7th rounder, just a receiver who fight to try to get on the roster. Hopefully it can work out. We haven't had a lot of success with late-round receivers, Palmer, Darwin. But, we're back at it again. Maybe it'll work this time in the 7th round. Can't go too wrong with this. I do love the Tez Johnson pick. So speaking of NFL undrafted free agents, it was Desmond Watson, the defensive tackle out of Florida. Just absolute monster of a man. I think he's down to like 426 pounds now, which is still crazy. And yeah, he should be a big contributor for us if he can make the team. It'd be pretty funny. Everyone's always saying the goal line package of Vita Vea and Watson. Good luck moving in those two, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if he can make the team. He, it's a big boy, so we'll see if he's in shape, if he can adjust, if he can lose some weight, and like I said, make this roster. It'd be cool. We also signed John Bullock, who it's good to see us signing some interior linebackers. That's the one position that wasn't quite addressed during the draft, which tells me they're really counting on Sebastian Dennis to stay healthy and be that main linebacker, as well as Lamonte David. It's a little risky. So, they're going to keep guys like Deion Jones around. They signed another David Walker, or something Walker, I want to say, from the Dolphins in the offseason to kind of shore up that linebacker spot. So we're going to have to count on these guys, and hopefully John Bell is really good and can make the team and help out with those interior linebackers because they're going to need it. It's going to be interesting. Bunch of other guys here. Will Shepard, also from Colorado. I'm not going to say also because they signed Shiloh Sanders, safety out of Colorado. Not great East Shrine Ball tape or such. He looks like he could use some development. I think Peter Report said it well. If this kid's willing to come in, work hard, and, leave all that glamour and all the stuff he did at Colorado kind of at the door and prove that he could be on this roster. I mean, you're an undrafted free agent kid. It's not like, you're all that. So he's going to have to come in humble, work hard, but if he wants to do that and makes this team and he's good, I mean, we're happy to have a talented Sanders in that secondary, So, yeah, always a little overshadowed by his brother, obviously, but this is his chance to prove it in the NFL and prove that he can actually do this. So it'd be cool if he can do that. It's kind of interesting he ended up with us. But, yeah, Will Shepard, corner receiver over there as well, had some decent plays for Colorado. He'll fight to get on this roster. We have the Bowling Green cornerback, Connor Baslak, something like that. He signed on as an undrafted free agent. Impressive stats at Bowling Green. We'll see if he can potentially make the roster. Whole bunch of other guys who, no idea who the heck they are. But we are hoping that they can in some way contribute to this team. Oh, and shout out to, what was that gentleman's name? There's a Mr. Watkins who is trying out and invited to the Bucs minicamp, who we're also kind of hoping will have a chance to make this roster. He's a friend of the show because he is Zach Sauer's brother-in-law. And Zach, of course, is one of our favorite. Connor Watkins. That's who he is right here. Mr. Connor Watkins himself. We're hoping that he can make the quarterback, the team as well. It'd be pretty cool. Been pulling for, he's Kendall's little brother. God bless him. Hope he makes the squad. Anyway, Bucs fans, that's pretty much us. breaking down this NFL draft of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2025. We'll see what this team looks like. Some interesting first-round picks, but, in light we trust. So I think we got another good draft pick. Hopefully we see these future studs. Guys, please like and subscribe to our content if this is the kind of shit you're into. And we will be bringing on more guests to break down some NFL stuff for you guys. XFL and MLR coverage will continue as well as we draw closer to the playoffs for MLR. Get excited about that. Thanks a lot. Sports by Compium. We're out.